I'm going to go ahead. Because you don't understand this. See, because you don't understand this, which always places you in default. Let me explain something to you. Issuer, right? With respects to an obligation, right? Whenever it comes to an obligation, an issuer, or when it comes to a defense, if somebody's saying you owe on a debt, this is also your defense, right? But you got to read to understand these things, right? All right, now check this out. With respects to an obligation or defense to a security. So the issuer includes the person that places or authorizes the placing of its name. So when you put your name on any security certificate, other than an authenticating trustee like the dealership or the registrar or the transfer agent, like a bank or something, or the like, to evidence a share. So whenever you sign and you're not one of them persons and you are the one signing the instrument, what you're doing is you're trying to evidence a share. Let me show it to you so you can understand it. Wait a minute. Also a participation. You're trying to participate in something, okay? Or other interests in its enterprise, or in its property or its enterprise, right? Because it's all it's your own entity, right? Or to evidence its duty, right, to perform an obligation represented by the certificate. See, what does the certificate actually represent? When you receive a certificate in the name of your principal where an obligation is due, and you are the recipient payee for that principal account, right? And you are the one about to issue the security. You are the one that's about to place your endorsement, and you're not the transfer agent. You're not the trustee. You are not the registrar. You're not any of them. You're not any of them. You are the other person, the one that's issuing the certificate, right? Let's keep going. I want you to get it. We're going to make sure you understand it. That's what we do over here. We teach so you can get it, and then you can go out and get your remedy. You see what I'm saying? You got to learn first, though, right? It says create a share, participation, or other interest in its property or enterprise, or undertakes an obligation that is an uncertificated security, right? Directly or indirectly creates a fractional interest in its rights or property if the fractional interest is represented by a security certificate, or becomes responsible for or places in place of another person described as an issuer in this section, right? So, when you sign, you got to understand that you are the one that's issuing the obligation, right? And as the issuer, now we're going to come back to where I was at. Now, this right here is the representative payee, a recipient payee, right? This is the legal definition of recipient payee. So you can understand recipient because you weren't taught that term, right? So I'm going to introduce you to a term that you need to be familiar with called recipient payee, right? So a person to whom a promissory note, right, check or bill of exchange is made payable. Did you hear that? Okay. The payee is the recipient. It didn't say the obligor. See how it's using a totally... You got to understand what they're doing now. The payee is the recipient of the payment. All right? So whoever the payment is made out to becomes the recipient, right? But if you are, in fact, let me pull up something else real quick. Let me pull this up. I'm about to show you something. Because a lot of times people will say there ain't no Social Security account. There ain't no such thing as a Social Security account. Okay. I'm going to share this with myself, and I'm going to pull it up for you real quick. I'm going to show you something. Because you need to know these things, right? We don't need to be, we know that's one, we've been told, that one been sent to show us the things that we may not know, you know what I mean? And that's why he raises up all around us. They all around you, all everywhere you look. You just don't. If your eyes ain't open, you won't see them. You know what I mean? Eyes got to be open, right? Check this out. All right, so when they tell you that it ain't no Social Security account number, I say it is. Hold up, but you know, Brother Isaiah, I'm in proving what I say. You know, if I say it, I mean it. I said it, I meant it. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, they say, what? An individual. Oh my God, there go them duality of persons again that I be telling you about, or entity convicted of a felony under this section or under section 1383AB of this title may not be certified as a payee, right? As a payee under section 405J of this title for the purposes of subsection A7. The term Social Security number and Social Security account number means such number as are assigned by the commissioner of the Social Security under section 405C of the title, whether or not in actual use. Such numbers are called Social Security numbers, right? Now, why is that important? So let's go to the source. Right? When you're dealing with the Social Security account number and assets are being deposited into the Social Security account, the commissioner is approving the funds on those assets to be paid. You see what I'm saying? And if you don't understand what's actually happening, and if you are the recipient payee of a record that should be paid to you and you're not receiving funds, then you can actually do something about it, because you can actually prove that you are the recipient payee or the name holder with a right to receive benefits whenever you put in an application or a request for insurance. You see what I'm saying? That's why you gotta But I ain't gonna go into all of this, right? It's a lot of information. I'm gonna show you where it's at. You can go in here and read this on your own and get a little bit more familiar with, the Social Security account numbers and, all the different sections where it talks about the commissioner and, just little things you need to know. I can't, I'm gonna read a little something to it, right? Representative payee. If the commissioner of the Social Security determines that the interest of an individual under subchapter would be served, thereby certification of payment of such individual benefits under this subchapter may be made regardless of the legal competency or incompetency of the individual, either for direct payment to an individual or for his or her use and benefit to another individual or organization, right? What was I at? Organization with respects to whom the requirements of paragraph 2 have been met hereinafter, and this subsection referred to as the individuals, representative payees. If the commissioner of the Social Security or the court of competent jurisdiction determined that the representative payee has misused any individual benefit paid to such representative payee pursuant to this section's subsection or section, and give you the other sections of this title, the commissioner of the Social Security shall promptly revoke certification for payment of benefits to such representative payee pursuant to this subsection and certify payment to an alternative representative payee. So somebody else is representing to be your payee for your Social Security, for your individual, because we all have the rights to use an individual. An individual is a corporation or a special purpose entity holding interest for the use of a holder or something like that. And us not being taught or being given full disclosure of what our relationship is with the principal is causing other persons to be representative payees to receive benefits that's due to us, and us not understanding when we enter these agreements what we actually doing. You know what I'm saying? And that's really causing great. Now let me read something, right? Because you got to understand, you need to go in here and read this. It says, in the case of any individual entitled to benefits based on disability, the payment of such benefits shall be made to a representative payee if the commissioner of the Social Security determines that such payment would serve the interests of the individual. So if as long as it's serving the interests of your principal, then he'll make the payment to them, right? Because the individual also has an alcoholism or drug addiction condition as determined by the commissioner, right? So it's like, check this out. You got to understand, check this out. So it says an individual who is entitled to or is an applicant for the benefits under this subchapter or subchapter 8 or subchapter 16, right, who has attained 18 years of age or is emancipated minor, may at the time designated one or more other individuals to serve as representative payee for such individual in the event that the commissioner of the Social Security determines under. So what it is like a lot of us haven't figured out that we are recipient payees and that we have a right to benefit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to help you out real quick, right? Let's see. So I'm going to help you out. I'm going to pull up a form that's going to help you because you need to identify yourself, right? You need to understand that you are the recipient. You are the one entitled to benefits anytime. But you got to understand when you applying for benefits, right? See, that's the deceptive acts and practices that they're talking about, right? Because nobody's giving you full disclosure of what's really taking place, right? Now, check this out. It says instructions, print the data, sign link, allow 4 to 6 weeks for a reply, right? I hereby request an extract or a photocopy of my application for Social Security number to establish my identity and to verify my Social Security number. I am furnishing my full identity information as follows, right? And then you fill it out. It gives you a declaration. Hopefully you know how to sign by now, you know, and you go and you get an extract so you can prove without a reasonable doubt from the Social Security Administration what your position is in reference to the principal and your ability to take charge and act in certain capacities to do certain things by right. You see what I'm saying? We have certain rights that they can't deprive us of, and anybody representing us in any way that's misrepresenting us not to be paid. Remember how you say when you go and they acting like they don't know what you're talking about? That's because it's a misrepresentation of who you are. They trying to receive benefits for you, and you have the right to the benefits. So now we got to learn how to attack the right person. Who approved this? Okay, we start looking at who? The Social Security a minute. I'm just throwing it at you, baby. I'm just got you to think. But let me show you something. Let me show you one more thing, and then your brother, I'm out of here because this is what I do. And if you ain't signed up, I don't know what you waiting on, baby. I don't know what you waiting on. You waiting to miss out on a great opportunity to learn from somebody who can actually teach you and show you the correct way. This is for generations to come. This is for us to learn that we have to grow into a level of understanding this information to where we can do greater and greater things. You know what I'm saying? Once we get the right concepts, right? It's a lot of things that's not told to us, right? So I'm going to look up the Illinois Use of Credit Information Act. All right, so I'm going to show you something because this is something that we all need to know. It's beautiful because I like the way it reads in Illinois, all right? It says the Use of Credit Information in Personal Insurance Act. So whenever there's a purpose of insurance, like if you finance it or whatever the purpose is in which you run your credit in order for insuring yourself, right? That's why you're using your credit information or your credit card, right? Which is with the Social Security Administration. All right. We've been talking the credit bureaus and we looking at all the wrong stuff, right? Now check this out. The purpose of this act is to regulate the use of credit information for personal insurance so that consumers are afforded certain protections with respects to the use of that information. So that's the whole purpose of this thing. Let me break this down to you, because ain't nobody else going to give it to you like me. I'm going to give it to you. Check it out. This act applies. Come on now, get out of my way. This act applies to personal insurance and not commercial insurance. For the purposes of this act, personal insurance means private passenger automobile, homeowner motorcycle, or mobile home and non-commercial dwelling fire insurance policies. See, this is the key word right here. No matter, when you think about all these things it talk about, mobile home and all that, it ain't talking about, it's talking about the policies, right? In the boat, in personal watercraft, snowmobile, and recreational vehicle policies. Such policies must be individually underwritten, meaning that you individually, that's why in the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, it's up to you. You determine, you the issuer, you determine. It has to be individually underwritten. If you don't understand, you are underwriter, right? Under the principle. Let me give it to you so you can get it. So you can't keep missing it, because you're going to miss it if you ain't there. No other type of insurance shall include personal insurance for the purposes of this act. Now, check this out. This is where it gets good. When you get to the definitions, that's why I say read. See how I can just pull this stuff up and show it to you where it's at. It's just all there, right? Now check this out. Definition for the purposes under this act. It says these defined words have the following meanings. Adverse action. Now, isn't adverse action means a denial or cancellation of, or increase in any charge for, or a reduction or other adverse or unfavorable change in the terms of coverage, or an amount of any insurance, right? Existing or applied for. So it don't matter what it is. Any insurance, it's an adverse action if they deny you. It's an adverse action if they cancel your stuff, if they, like when they cancel your bank account, all that, because that's all personal insurance. Right? Let's keep going. Well, I'm going to prove it to you. Like, we got to keep going. Affiliate means any company that controls or is controlled by or is under common control with another company. Applicant means an individual. There we go with them duality of persons again. An individual who has applied to be covered by a personal insurance policy with an insurer. So remember I was telling y'all about the receipts? So when you start understanding that these are insurance policies, see, when you start reading and you start learning, you will really get what Brother Isaiah is trying to teach our people that we need to learn. It says consumer means an insured. Let me read it again, just in case you missed that, right? A consumer means an insured. What? I said you're already insured, baby. You don't believe me? I have to read it to you 3 times for it to become true to you. It means an insured or an applicant for a personal insurance policy whose credit information is used, or insurance score is calculated in underwriting or rating of the personal insurance policy. So whenever they getting your credit information, wait a minute, we've been taught wrong, but I'm going to teach you right. Because you should know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. You got to act on the truth, though. It ain't going to pick it up by itself. You got to act on it. And if you don't read enough, you'll never know how to act on it, no matter how many times I show it to you, right? Now check this out. A consumer reporting agency means any person that, for monetary fees or dues, or on a cooperative nonprofit basis, regularly engages in whole or in part in the practice of assembling or evaluating consumer credit information, right? Or other information on consumers for the purposes of furnishing consumer reports to third parties, right? Now, let's get to it. Credit information means any credit-related, let's read it again, any credit-related information derived from a credit report found on a credit report itself or provided on an application for personal insurance. Information that is not credit related shall not be considered credit information, regardless of whether or not it is contained in a credit report or in an application or is used to calculate an insurance score, right? So now that you understand that any information that can be found on your credit report that's put into an application is called credit information. So even if they don't ask you for the social, if they just ask for your name and address, that's on your credit report. That's credit information. That's personal insurance. So if there's a receipt, then that receipt proves your rights of insurance, right? So now we understand insurance, right? Now, remember I showed you representative payee, right? See, remember this? Representative payee? Now I'm going to show you something else and I'm out of here, I promise you. The Interest Act. Let's pull it up in Illinois. I said the interest. The Interest Act for Illinois. Now,
according to Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation, the Security Deposit Interest Act requires that the lessor of residential real property, consisting of 25 or more units, pay interest to the lessee on any security deposit held for 6 months or more.
Okay, so now we're gonna go to the Interest Act, right? I'm pulling it all together for you. I'm gonna pull it all together. I told you they plan deceptive acts and practices, right? But you gotta study enough to learn what those deceptive acts and practices are so that you can basically hold them accountable and you can do other certain things in reference to certain things. I got certain records, man. I'm trying to tell you, I got some information. Hey, look, now check this out. See, that's what makes, there's many a call, but it's only a few chosen ones, you know, I can talk about the sale of goods all day long. That could be my niche to sell. I can say the sales of goods in the Contract Act or the Bill of Exchange Act. And then those would be the arenas that I box around because that's where my knowledge. But I'm diverse, man. I'm everywhere. You can't miss me. I'm going to take you all the way around the board. I'm going to show you things that I know can't nobody else show you. They can't teach you. Most people, that's actually getting this information correctly. They listening to people that have been actually retaught this information in a certain way because we were actually reading it wrong and acting upon the information wrong. So that's why it had to be retaught. And everybody had to go back to the drawing board. We all had to go back to the beginning. You got to start over and rebuild the foundation. You can't add this on a bunch of faultiness. You got to rebuild a better foundation, a stronger, more supportive foundation. And then you move on that. It's not hard to stack your bricks up right, so you got to stack your house up and build your house up, correctly. So that's what it's all about, is us building. When I say building your house, I'm talking about, the structure, what's the main concepts here? Okay, contracts. So you start learning about contracts and laws and pertaining to it. Then you say, okay, we're dealing with negotiable instruments. You start reading about negotiable instruments and learning how instruments operate. Okay, we also dealing with transferring of property. So you start reading up on these things. You see, then you get more involved, and as time grow on, you grow into a knowledge of gaining that not just understanding, but confidence in order to move and act on it. Because a lot of people will give you stuff, but they can't complete everything. They can't give you the fullness because a lot of people are not studying. You can tell the person who provides the source of the information versus somebody who's picking it up And you got to understand it's a difference. It's a difference when you're dealing with a real teacher, somebody that qualified to teach you and show you things that will be life-changing. You know, if you can just sit down and reason with thyself, you got to reason with yourself, because that's where it ultimately starts. Any rejection of this information will start with you, with self, with the inner self, because it don't start outwardly. Outwardly, you look, and then inwardly you reject. You like, oh, what the hell? I don't know what he just said, until the inner man receives it. Once he receives it, that's when he is, see, because that's the real man, the one inside. You know, the one on the outside, you know, he's just doing the acting, right? So let's get this, right? Let's get to it. So this is the short title. It may be cited as the Interest Act, right? It says the rate of interest upon the loan for forbearance of any money, goods, or things in action shall be $5 upon $100. So it's $5 per $100, right, for 1 year. And after that rate, for a greater or lesser sum, right, or for a longer or shorter time, except as herein provided. So it's a rate that they can charge of interest. Whenever interest is able to be charged, the rate that they can charge is $5 per $100 per annum. Okay, so let's get this. It says a creditor shall be allowed to receive at a rate of 5% per annum for all monies. For all monies, it don't matter what it is, after they become due. So any money that becomes due on any bond, bill, or promissory note, or other instrument of writing, right? On money lent. See? On money lent. Because it's due. If it's due, then I mean it was lent. See, we got to learn the terms. So if you somebody issue something that says due, that means he lent you something because he's telling you it's due now. But we have not caught up on to what was actually taking place. We late in really receiving the information, right? And comprehending transactions. When somebody would give you something that says due, unless they felt like they gave you something or something was approved for you to have, right? It says, or in advance for the use. It says money lent or advanced for the use of another on money due on the settlement. See? So the money due on your contract is for the settlement of the account from the day of liquidating accounts between parties. So from the very day that you signed that contract and it was supposed to be paid, every bill from coming after that is for the settlement of the account from the day that it was supposed to be liquidated. So every month you getting a settlement payment, given the opportunity to settle your obligation. Let me read it to you so you can get it, baby. We got to learn how to read for real. Like for real, we really do got to learn how to read again. Like really comprehend. That's what I'm saying. Comprehend this, right? On money lent or advance for the use of another, on money due on the settlement of accounts from the day of liquidating accounts between the parties. See, you wouldn't understand what it means. It says liquidating accounts between the parties, right? But when you study, you'll understand SJ 192 says that all debts are supposed to be discharged dollar for dollar upon entry. So from the day of liquidating accounts, it's talking about from the day you entered in the account should have got liquidated. It should have been a deduction, some type of discharge, or something should have took place to settle that agreement between you and that other party, right? So that's what it's talking about. It says in ascertaining the balance on money received. See, that's why I say, if they follow the truth in lending, then you got to ascertain the balance. You got to be the one that knows that you're receiving something and that you have a right to calculate and pay it. See what I'm saying? Let me read it for you so you can get what it's saying to you, because it took me a while to learn how to understand what this stuff was saying, right? So let's read it again. It says, on money due, let me get it. On money due on a settlement of accounts from the date of liquidating accounts between the parties and ascertaining the balance on money received to the use for another and retained without the owner's knowledge. See, they're receiving money for the use of the owner, right? But they're retaining it without you even knowing that they even have it. But they're demanding that you pay the money that they're holding to them, which is like incredible that we would never know that in accounting we couldn't actually pay them with anything outside of what they already have. You see what I'm saying? And the notice or the request being made to make the payment of the goods being held by them and us not understanding how to make that transaction occur is where we having the fumble at. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people teaching, but they ain't teaching like this. You ain't teaching you the true concepts of what's really going on and showing it to you and breaking it down to you so that you can see what's actually happening so that you can understand why you becoming liable and how. Now, in this act, it also tells you how to make payment. It tells you how the debtor, how to come out of the situation. See, but man, it's a lot of twists and turns that you have to learn, but it's not hard. It's it's kind of simple and complex. It's a simple, complex term. It's simple, but it's complex. It's so simple, it's complex. And most people would never even take out the time to get it. That's the jewel about somebody that's been incarcerated and things like that we've actually discovered certain qualities. We've learned how to do certain things that other people can't actually do. They haven't had the time to master these type of qualities in ourselves. And it's purposely done to us so we won't master certain things about ourselves. Like me, I've learned how to take care of my body and work out and things like that. That things that I can carry for life. I will always, maintain a certain health, a certain way that I would want to maintain myself because I learned how to do that. And that's a quality that I can carry throughout my life. And it's just like knowledge, information, and any other thing that you gain. So the key thing is for you to gain the knowledge. That's why I speak so highly on gaining the knowledge, because they can take cars, houses, and stuff from you, but they can't take this from you. Once you get it, you got it. Once you learn how to operate, once you learn how to operate, you see everything is dealing with the promissory notes. So, and once you learn how to take care of your business, you'll be able to really do great things. It's crazy that that they've been able to, get away with, doing this for so long. It's like, man, it's crazy. It's crazy when you think about it. But it's a good thing that we have the knowledge that we have today, and that and it's a continuous search for the source of the information. I will be a student to the day I die. I will continue studying to strive in the way of truth, to learn truth, to hear truth at falsism, until I knock his brains out. I will continue to put this information out for those that are deserving and that need to have a true understanding of what's actually being stated and how this information truly works. I know everybody is not able. Some people need you to be in person. Some people need to be, they need to be shown things in writing. And, I get it. You have to, and some people tell me all the time, like, you really should write a book. I was thinking about it. I'm really thinking about it. I'm really thinking about putting together a book. I think I'm going to actually write. I might start off with maybe 1 or 2 pamphlets, just something, pertaining to a couple of things, concepts that I want to, put out into the atmosphere. And then I might actually write an actual book pertaining to some of these concepts. And I ain't talking about printing and copy nobody else's stuff. I'm talking about my actual own thoughts, my own forms and documents that you will see in my book that I made myself, and it ain't nothing that's printed from somebody else's stuff. You can tell that it's all original. You know what I'm saying? So, and, it's just like that, the steps that, things that I did, things that I've done for other people. I just want to write a book just talking about the journey, the walk, and how it all started, you know, and what led me to the point to where I'm at today, doing the things that I do today for, you know, for many people, man, because that's what it's all about. It's always been about the people. That's what it's all about. You know, the tyrants, they've always been to destroy the people in the interest of the people, you know. And people say, well, they want to kill all the people. Well, if they killed all the people, it wouldn't be no joy in being, because the people is what makes the world what it is. Without people in the world, well, they just want to size it down to a certain selective few, it would never be the same, because without every people brings a certain element to the earth. It would be an imbalance if everybody, you know, you got to understand everything in life has a balance, and it will always be balanced the way that it should be. You know, if it's supposed to be a certain way, eventually over time, those things will eventually come back to what they're supposed to be. Because the time, you know, it will actually allow that to happen. You know, if I have this type of knowledge now, and by, you know, anything coming up under me, you know, it's going to be extraordinary. You know, it's because of the concepts, the way they're being taught. They're not going to no public schools, and you know, so it's a whole different concept, having that consciousness and being able to provide that source to your children, to your family, and things like that is critical in this day and time. So, you know, I hope y'all really enjoyed the video. But, you know, y'all go back and y'all do some research on I showed y'all a lot of different things, and y'all make sure y'all get that form so you can verify yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody keeps trying to say you are the principal, but if you are recipient payee that's entitled to benefits from an individual, then you need to make sure you can identify yourself properly. So I just wanted to keep that in mind. Y'all have a blessed, y'all have a wonderful day. Make sure you like and share the video. If you'd like to send any type of support, that's the Cash App, that's the People's Remedy.